Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ailey if you're new. Today's video is another one in my To The Point series, Back to Basics Makeup. So today we're going to be talking about shade matching foundation. If you struggle to shade match your foundation, find your undertone, etc., then this video is going to be for you. Then give you some tips on how to order foundation online. Once you know about your skin and what foundations or what colours work for you, tips on how to order online because it is a nightmare. So yeah, if you want to see how to shade match and get your perfect foundation every time, then just keep watching. Okay, so shade matching foundation must be the most annoying thing on the planet. Obviously, if you are in somewhere where you can test, that's what we're going to tackle first. So if you are in a place where there's testers and you can test the foundation to shade match, then this is how I would recommend doing it. I'm going to pull out a rake of foundations and I'm going to show you how bad the shade matches can be. Okay, so on my chin or on my jawline is a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my foundations that I have. And you can probably see that not one of them is the same. Actually, yeah, not one of them is the same. These two are pretty similar, but the variety of shades is insane. That's down to two things. One thing would be one might be bought in the summer, or if I have fake tan on at the time, or they've been bought online, or they oxidize, along with poor shade matching. How do we get it right? Obviously, if you don't get the shade 100% right, you don't have to worry about it too much. There are things that you can do, which I will explain in another video, and I will link up there once I've uploaded it, how you can make foundation that's the wrong shade for you work for you, as long as it's not insane. So I'm just going to take, for example, this little concealer palette here from MAC. Obviously we're going to ignore the two bottom shades, but for the other shades, just because they're really vibrant and you can really see them. So these are all, well, they're not all different undertones, but you can see that this one's a wee bit more pinky, definitely more sort of olivey, more yellow and more peachy. That's just because of the palette that it is. So if I was to blend it out, you can see that I suit a more peachy foundation. I'm hoping that you can actually see that, just going by what it looks like next to my skin. But you can see this one's not too bad, and it is a wee bit more sort of like olivey yellow, but the yellowy one doesn't suit me. Even though I have a yellow undertone, I have like sort of yellowness and that under my eyes. But a good way to tell what kind of like foundation category suits you. So do you suit cool tone? Do you suit warm tone? To get, you can go in and you can get them to test these on you, and get ones with different undertones and see which one suits you best. So I suit a peachy one or a neutral. Generally, I'll stick to neutral or peachy. If we go into this palette, obviously none of these are my right shade. This one isn't far off, but none of them are the right shade for me. But I do now know that I need a peachier tone. So that has eliminated one question for me. So if I look in this palette and try and find the peachier tones, the closest one I've found now is this one here. If I then blend it, it almost disappears into my skin. That would be the closest match that I have in here, because I think the next one would be this one. Though that works too. So really you can sort of, you can see it doesn't have to be bang on. I would actually say that one. So it's actually this one, which is quite a well used one in the palette, suits me. So if I was going into foundations, I would just put them on. Don't blob them on like that, because it's never gonna, you can see right away that they are too light and too dark. If I start to blend it out, you can see that probably with a little bit of a tan, that one would be fine, even though it looked really dark there to begin with. And this one is just too light. You can see that it just stays quite stark. So that is how you do it. Now, that's if you want it to match your face. If you're somebody who fake tans, all day, every day, but you don't tan your face. You want, well, I suppose it doesn't even matter if you do tan your face, but if you don't tan your face, you want it to match your neck. Obviously, if you do tan your face, you can match your face, but you want it to match your neck. I would say go like a half a shade lighter, just so that you've got, because your face is always lighter than your body. So if you fake tan up to here and then you have a really pale face, it's gonna look weird. It's gonna look awkward as hell. It just depends though. You're gonna want different shades for different times of the year. That's why a palette like this can be really good, or you know, if you're somebody who just likes to have different foundations on hand. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply my closest match and show you that it doesn't have to be bang on. Don't worry about matching your foundation 100%, because 99 times out of 100 nobody actually has a perfect match. With a medium coverage foundation as well, you are going to be quite forgiving, because your skin is going to peek through and it's sort of going to, look at that grey hair. Oh, look at it. Oh, you probably can't see it on camera. 24th. I'm getting my hair done. Can't come flipping quick enough. That is obviously the foundation. So it shows that it doesn't have to be 100% match and it still will look good. Okay, so I've got two different things that I will pop up on the screen as I'm talking about them, just to try and make it a little bit easier for you. But the thing I like about MAC is that they explain their shades. Lots of other brands do this, but I've just been able to find MAC's. So if you know from back at the start of the video when we were talking about undertones, so if you go onto MAC's website, you will see, and I've just pulled up Studio Fix Fluid, and it's on C3.5. So C3.5 is a light to medium beige with peachy undertone for light to medium skin. The one I have is N6.5, is peachy beige with natural undertone for light to medium skin, and it is a neutral shade. So it's still peachy, but it's neutral. It's not cool, it's not warm. I find that warm can very quickly oxidize and go kind of orangey on me, and cool just makes me look sick. So you can actually, once you've got an idea of what tones suit you, you can go on and you can read the descriptions and you can get an idea of what shade. They will then have, I'll put it up on the screen, they will then have pictures of people with similar skin tones or people's arms with swatches on them, so that you can compare and see how deep the shades are. So if you find somebody who looks like you in the picture and it's on top of their skin, you can kind of work it out from there. So you basically figure out what your undertone or what your preference is shade wise. And what I do is, if something looks too light for me, I go to the next shade down with that undertone. Not just like, so if this one didn't suit me, I wouldn't go in N.7, because N.7 is completely different. It's got a different undertone. It does sound really confusing, but once you've got this, you will be able to pick any kind of foundation online with these tools. It gets a little bit more confusing when I'm on Cult Beauty just now, and I'll put this picture up here. You've got things like this, and this is the only way that you can work it out. But you can always Google, and somebody who has the foundation might tell you. So obviously I can show you what this one is like. It's sort of peachy, and it's in Santa Fe. So as a guide, I'm on the second arm in, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and you can see it just looks a little bit peachier than the rest. You can sort of get an idea of the difference in the shades if you're having to order it online. So obviously if you are somewhere where you can test them, then you can use these tips and tricks and test them. If you are somewhere where you can return products, you can obviously try it and then return it. I'm pretty sure that there's a company that send you a tester so that you can test it without opening it, and if you don't like it, you can send it back. I think all companies need to do this. I know it sounds ridiculous. They could literally take the bottle, do a test that goes with each foundation, I'm talking a couple of squirts just so that you can test it. Send it with each foundation, and if you send it back unopened, you can swap it for your shade. So if any companies out there that are watching, I don't need credit. I would just love if it was an option. A wee tester would be awesome, but obviously I'm sure I saw it somewhere, so if I did, I'm going to put it in the description box for you. So yeah, that is my A to Z tips and tricks on how to shade match foundation. This was supposed to be a really short and to the point video, I apologise, but I had to get all that information in there. It has been a long slog of trying to figure out how the best way to shade match my own foundation, especially when my skin tone changes throughout the year with if I'm out in the sun or if I've been on holiday and stuff like that. So yeah, I really hope that this video helps. Share it with your friends, because this knowledge, or these tips took ages to learn. Share it with your friends, and if you enjoyed this video, obviously I would love if you would get a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you want to see any more in this series, they will be linked up there. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see, let me know and I will definitely do it for you, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!